it's a very important point. Can you just elaborate on, how did you do that? It's just,
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think, if I had not made that leap, I don't think I would have been successful at all, right? So I think a lot of it is about overcoming your fear, right? Whether it's asking a girl out for a date or selling, I think is the same level of fear. It's the fear of rejection. So I think when you start your company and you are a determined scorpion, then you basically do what you have to do, right? And you measure yourself by how successful you are. You learn to take feedback, you learn to listen, you learn not to be judgmental, which is also very difficult being a scorpion. So I think I judge situations or people or anything probably 100x less than when I was growing up, right? And I think I would not have been there unless I would have gone through this experience of selling and building a business, because it doesn't matter who you are when you're selling. The guy on the other end basically is looking for a good deal, a good product, and he's comparing you with 100 other people, right? So when you absorb that reality and you are committed to making it happen, then I think you will do it, right? So I think people say nothing is impossible. This is one of those things where literally nothing is impossible.
So this particular venture, what happened? How did it progress? What was the end game for it?
Sure. So actually, I want to give you one example of this whole overcoming the fear thing. This was actually the first 2-3 months into my first company, Romeware. I was at a conference in San Francisco, and there's this amazing, charismatic guy called Craig Ehrlich, who was at that time the CEO of Sunday Communications in Hong Kong. A Brit guy living in Hong Kong, running Sunday Communication. And I was just awed by his session and the way he spoke and everything about it, right? So as it happens in all of these conferences, you go up to the speaker, you ask a question or two and things like that. And this was my first attempt at saying, I really like this guy. What is it that you can get out of it? So I think somewhere I got over my fear. I handed him my card and I just said 3 sentences. Vaibhav, Romeware, we're doing something really interesting. Love what you said and would love for you to be part of our advisory board. It was not prepared. It just happened that moment. Craig went on to come to our advisory board, then onto our board of directors. For about 2 years, he was the chairman of the GSM Association, which is kind of the governing body of GSM carriers worldwide, and we had C-level introductions into every carrier that we wanted. So it was just golden, right? And so I think it is yet another example of, just get over your fears, basically. And in fact, if you're fearing something, just do it, because I think it's going to turn out to be something that will help you in the long run.
So where did Romeware go?
Sure.
And what happened?
Yeah, so Romeware is still running. It's just rebranded as Mobilium. It's a company that has 400 plus carriers worldwide, about a few billion subscribers that their software serves into. So it is running as a very good, profitable company. 3 of us left in about 2003-04 time frame for our own reasons.
Sorry, what was your role with Romeware?
So I did product marketing and sales.
Okay.
In the early days, later on it was more product and marketing.
Okay. Yeah, sorry.
So Romeware is still running. They have offices in about 4 countries. 3 of the original founders, or 2 of the original founders are still there. It's a large venture funded company, so different people left at different times. It's definitely a different company than what it is now. But I think the 4 years were an absolute blast. I remember every day of it, and especially I think one particular thing that I take home along with the sales thing is the importance of a brand. So when we were thinking of naming the company, we had just a placeholder name in the early days, and we engaged a firm who had come up with PayPal, right? A small firm out of Berkeley, very good in the whole naming space. And I think we spent about 3 months with them trying to find a name. And we just couldn't find something that we gelled with, right? And that was, it's almost like, it's your own baby, and how can you get somebody else to name it, right? And then we were in the roaming space. So one afternoon when we were brainstorming what to call our platform, we said, let's call it roaming software, so roamware. And very soon we realized that, hey, this is the name that we identify with, right? And it was closer to our heart, and that is, and we didn't realize that that's the name of the company. And it went on to becoming very, very well known with the brand as well, because we were selling roaming software, and it was a tremendous success just in making sure people remember us by what we do, right? So that's another thing, just listen to your heart is something that we kind of read and talk about very often, but rarely think about it.
And so after Roamware, where did you go?
So after Roamware, I started Better, right, with absolutely no plan in mind, other than trying to do something in sales and marketing, which I thought was broken at a few points. So I went from a nice, healthy 6-figure salary to a bedroom startup out of Santa Clara, and started our first product, which is now Ready Contacts, where we build marketing data sets for other companies. And I still remember my first check was from a customer that was I think $500, right? And I think the proudest thing for Ready Contacts for us as a team is that Salesforce being one of our largest customers for the last several years, when they actually own the biggest data company called data.com, right? So, so I think it's been a long journey for Ready Contacts. That was kind of the first company, first product under the Better umbrella, and that's how we got started with our Better journey.
So Roamware, a lot of sales marketing primarily, and then Better, and it's a pretty broad canvas. Are there some core guiding principles that over the years that you have really taken to heart and say that this is what defines me as well as any business or anything that I do? And what are those? How are they shaped?
Right.
Any particular incidences or epiphanies that, if this happened and so I said,
right.
That's what.
Right, absolutely. So I think it's a big list of things that I always remember every time I'm doing something, or every time I'm working with another team and things like that, right? And I think one of the things that I did when I left Roamware and started what is Ready Contacts today is I said I'm not going to do work or sell to anybody that I know or sell to anybody that my friends know, right? So my first 10 customers have to be people I have no idea who they are, because that's going to make me figure out how I'm going to sell. That's going to make me convinced that there is a product opportunity out there, and that's going to help me do that very quickly. And I think that particular rule to date is something that I follow across the board. So even Pickbackman, when we launched, or even now, I haven't emailed a single friend of mine that, hey, try this.
That is pretty radical, actually. And just recently we had an event called Power Start where multiple ventures came together. And what we realized as a pretty common problem amongst all these startups was their understanding of the ecosystem of their venture was fairly low, and predominantly because they had talked to people that they knew, and many times they got the answers that they probably wanted to hear, or and they didn't really venture beyond that. So you talk to a few people that you know very well, and you probably steer the conversation yourself, and you get completely lulled into thinking that there is a market, And this is the value proposition, and this is